The night clerk at the Grand Horizon Hotel would later tell detectives his shift had been ordinary, until 12:37 a.m., when the screams began. By the time first responders arrived, Room 418 had transformed from a lover's hideaway into a crime scene. Blood splattered across cream-colored walls, a knife discarded on the carpet, and in the center of it all, 3 lives forever altered in a moment of rage. What drives a quiet accountant to become a killer? Victor Calloway, 42, had never so much as received a parking ticket. Colleagues described him as meticulous and reserved. Yet, on that February night, he crossed a line from which there was no return. Have you ever wondered what happens when someone's breaking point is finally reached? We all carry invisible thresholds of pain, betrayal, and humiliation. For most, these boundaries remain theoretical. But for some, like Victor, they become the edge of an abyss. Tonight, we explore how a seemingly perfect suburban life shattered in minutes. The Calloways had it all: successful careers, 2 children, a home in an upscale neighborhood. Their Christmas cards showed smiling faces and coordinated outfits. Their social media projected happiness and stability. No one saw the cracks forming beneath the polished surface. What warning signs were missed that could have prevented this tragedy? What desperate whispers went unheard between husband and wife? What silent resentments built over years until they erupted in violence? By the end of our story, you'll understand how 3 people, Martha Calloway, her husband Victor, and personal trainer Adrian Vega, ended up in that hotel room, and why only 2 would leave alive. Before we continue, if you value stories that reveal the hidden dangers lurking in everyday life, tap that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Each week, we bring you true crime cases that entertain while teaching crucial life lessons. Your support helps us share these important warnings with others who need to hear them. Now, let's step back and witness how this tragedy began. Martha Calloway commanded attention when she entered a room. At 38, she ranked among the top 5% of real estate agents in her region. Her name emblazoned on glossy sold signs throughout exclusive neighborhoods. Her Instagram feed showcased immaculate property stagings, client testimonials, and occasional glimpses of what appeared to be domestic bliss. Martha could sell a cardboard box for luxury prices, a colleague once remarked. She understands what people want before they do. This intuition served her well professionally, bringing in commissions that funded private schools, luxury vacations, and a custom-built home in Hillcrest Estates. Meanwhile, Victor Calloway built his reputation differently, through meticulous attention to financial details and unwavering reliability. As senior accountant at Bergman & Associates, he managed portfolios for wealthy clients who appreciated his discretion and precision. Victor approached life through numbers and systems, finding comfort in ledgers that balanced perfectly. "I handle the money, she handles the people," he'd explain at dinner parties, the rare occasions when the couple entertained together. This division worked professionally but created fissures at home. Victor's 60-hour workweeks expanded during tax season to 80 hours, leaving him physically present but mentally absent most evenings. Their children, Emma, 14, and James, 11, filled the spaces between their parents' busy schedules with activities and achievements. Honor roll certificates, soccer trophies, and piano recitals provided convenient topics for family conversation that avoided deeper issues. The Calloways attended school functions together, maintaining their roles as engaged parents while exchanging fewer words each year. Their 4,500-square-foot home became less a haven than a stage, where they performed normalcy for neighbors, friends, and eventually themselves. The expensive furniture remained impeccable partly because few intimate family moments occurred there. Holiday photos captured posed smiles that grew more practiced annually. Warning signs flickered throughout their 15-year marriage. Separate bedrooms, officially because Victor's late-night work disturbed Martha's sleep. Vacations where they stayed physically close but mentally remote. Conversations that stuck to logistics and schedules, avoiding emotion. "You're never really here," Martha once said during a rare argument. "I'm working to give us everything we need," Victor replied. "Except what I actually need," she whispered, too softly for him to hear. Friends noticed changes, how Martha would drink an extra glass of wine at gatherings, how Victor checked his phone constantly, how they arrived and departed in separate vehicles. But the Callaways projected such capability and success that few dared suggest intervention. They maintained this careful choreography for years, a marriage that functioned efficiently without genuine connection. Both recognized the hollowness but feared acknowledging it might collapse everything they built. So they continued their parallel lives, the distance between them widening daily, their facades intact but increasingly fragile. What they couldn't see was how dangerous such emptiness could become when one person decided to fill it. Martha's Lexus SUV rolled into the Elevate Fitness parking lot precisely at 10:15 a.m. on a Tuesday, her new standing appointment with herself. The sleek glass-fronted building promised transformation, a word that echoed in her thoughts during sleepless nights beside an empty pillow. She wasn't just seeking toned arms or defined abs. She was searching for something that had vanished from her marriage years ago. A sense that someone saw her, truly saw her. "First time?" asked the receptionist, sliding a membership form across the polished counter. Martha nodded, surveying the buzzing energy of the main floor. People connected to their bodies, their movements, their breath. Everything she felt disconnected from in her automated life. "Would you like a complimentary session with one of our trainers to get started?" That question would alter the trajectory of her carefully managed life. Adrian Vega stood out immediately, not just for his athletic build, but for the genuine enthusiasm he brought to each interaction. At 29, he radiated confidence without arrogance, his smile creating an instant bubble of warmth around whomever he spoke with. When Martha explained her goals, "I want to feel strong again," his focused attention made her feel like the only person in the crowded gym. "Physical strength begins with believing you deserve it," he told her during their first session, adjusting her form with respectful, professional touches that nonetheless left her skin tingling minutes afterward. Their twice-weekly sessions became anchors in Martha's calendar. At home, conversations revolved around household logistics and children's schedules. But at Elevate Fitness, Adrian asked questions no one had posed to her in years. "What brings you joy? What would you do if nothing stood in your way? What do you dream about?" The gym environment itself became a stark contrast to her home. Her house, quiet, ordered, emotionally barren. The gym, vibrant, challenging, alive with possibility. At home, Martha moved through spotless rooms feeling invisible. At the gym, every mirror reflected a woman becoming visible again, to herself and to the trainer whose approval increasingly mattered. By month 3, their professional boundaries began shifting. Sessions extended by 10 minutes, then 20, with conversations continuing into the juice bar afterward. Martha found herself selecting workout clothes with greater care, noticing how Adrian's gaze lingered when she entered the room. Psychology would later explain the inevitable progression. Martha, emotionally abandoned in her marriage, was neurologically primed to respond to authentic attention. Adrian offered validation, physical proximity, and the intoxicating feeling of being chosen. Their age gap magnified his appeal. He represented youthful passion and freedom from responsibility, exactly what her life lacked. "Your husband's a lucky man," Adrian commented during their 12th session. "He doesn't notice me anymore," Martha replied, the admission hanging between them like an invitation. Adrian's hand rested briefly on her shoulder. "That's impossible to believe." The touch lasted 3 seconds. Neither mentioned it, but both recognized the line they'd just crossed. On the drive home, Martha's gym bag held a small paper note with Adrian's personal phone number. Her wedding ring felt suddenly tight on her finger, a physical reminder of promises made when she was practically a different person. That evening, as Victor announced another late night at the office, Martha's phone buzzed with a text, "Great session today. You're stronger than you know." For the first time in years, Martha felt a rush of anticipation about what tomorrow might bring. Their first meeting outside the gym happened at a coffee shop 30 miles from Martha's neighborhood. She arrived wearing sunglasses and a baseball cap, scanning faces nervously before sliding into the booth across from Adrian. The conversation flowed with unexpected ease. No talk of reps or form, just two people discovering shared tastes in music, dreams of travel, and a mutual hunger for something more than their daily routines offered. "This feels dangerous," Martha admitted, stirring her latte. Adrian leaned forward. "Sometimes dangerous is exactly what we need." When his hand covered hers on the table, Martha didn't pull away. The electric current of forbidden touch made her wedding ring feel like it belonged to someone else entirely. 3 coffee dates later, Adrian suggested meeting somewhere more private. The Grand Horizon Hotel sat just off the highway exit, neither luxurious nor shabby, but importantly anonymous. Its beige exterior and generic name made it forgettable to passers-by, perfect for those who wished to remain unseen. Martha checked in as Emily Wilson, paid cash, and learned to request rooms on the 3rd floor, away from the elevators. She stored a second phone in her gym bag, purchased with cash, used exclusively for messages that couldn't exist on her regular device. She invented client meetings, home showings, and industry networking events, creating elaborate cover stories delivered to Victor with practiced casualness. Room 312 became their sanctuary. Behind its locked door, Martha discovered parts of herself long dormant. Adrian's touch awakened sensations she'd forgotten could exist, his whispered compliments healing years of emotional neglect. Their physical connection was intoxicating, but equally powerful was being truly seen. Adrian noticed her new haircut, remembered her favorite wine, asked about her dreams. "You're incredible," he'd whisper against her skin. "He doesn't deserve you." Martha constructed her double life with surprising skill. She maintained separate wardrobes, perfumes, even subtle makeup differences between her roles as respectable realtor/mother and passionate lover. The compartmentalization became almost an art form, her calendar a complex code she alone could decipher. The thrill of secrecy itself became addictive. The rapid heartbeat when lying to Victor, the adrenaline rush of slipping her wedding ring into her purse before meeting Adrian. The stolen glances during their sessions at the gym, now charged with private memories. Her entire body felt awakened, alert, alive with delicious tension. Yet underneath the exhilaration lurked moments of crushing guilt. Watching her children complete homework assignments about family values. Sitting beside Victor at school functions, his obliviousness both convenient and heartbreaking. In these moments, Martha would justify her choices. Wasn't she more patient with her children, more effective at work, when her needs were finally being met? Have you ever witnessed someone leading this kind of double life? The careful lies, the mysterious absences, the sudden changes in behavior? Comment below with signs you've noticed that someone wasn't being truthful about who they really were. Your observations might help others recognize dangerous deceptions happening right before their eyes. Victor Calloway processed life through numbers and patterns, balance sheets, tax codes, statistical anomalies. For 15 years, the patterns of his marriage had been predictable, if not passionate. Until they weren't. The first discrepancy, Martha's sudden interest in fitness. 3 sessions weekly became 5. Her gym bag perpetually packed, her water bottle always full. The second, changes in her appearance. New hairstyle, different perfume, lingerie receipts in her purse, items he never saw her wear. The third, her phone. Once casually left on countertops, now permanently attached to her hand, screen always angled away from his view. Password changed monthly. "Late showing tonight," she'd announce, applying lipstick Victor hadn't seen before. "Don't wait up." He'd nod, pretending to focus on spreadsheets while noting her departure time. 7:42 p.m. Her return, 11:17 p.m. No properties in their area required 3.5 hours to show. "How'd it go?" he'd ask. "Tire kickers," she'd reply, disappearing into the bathroom. 20-minute showers after evening appointments became routine. Victor told himself he was imagining things. They were busy professionals with independent lives. Trust formed the foundation of mature relationships. Yet doubt crept in, colonizing his thoughts during quiet moments at work, driving home, lying awake beside his wife's sleeping form. The key card appeared on a Tuesday morning. Victor had grabbed Martha's coat, offering to hang it as she rushed out with the children. A plastic rectangle slipped from the pocket. Grand Horizon Hotel, room 312. Not a client property. Not a professional venue. Just a mid-range hotel off Highway 23. He placed it on her nightstand, heart pounding, waiting to see if she'd explain. That evening, the card had vanished. No mention. No explanation. The silence between them stretched taut as piano wire. For 3 weeks, Victor battled conflicting impulses. Confront her directly? Pretend nothing had changed? Hire a private investigator? Each option revealed personal weaknesses he'd rather not acknowledge. Then came her text. Meeting new clients tonight. Potential lake house buyers. Back late. Victor left work early for the first time in 5 years. Parked his gray sedan across from their home. Waited. When Martha's car backed from the garage, he followed at a careful distance, staying 2 cars behind, pulse throbbing in his temples. She didn't drive toward the lake. Instead, she headed for the highway, exiting near a commercial district Victor rarely visited. The Grand Horizon Hotel stood at the end of a curved driveway, unremarkable in every way except for what happened within its walls. Victor parked, watching Martha enter the lobby. She moved confidently like someone who'd been there before. Many times before. 15 minutes later, another car pulled in, a black Jeep. The driver emerged, young, athletic, carrying a small gym bag. Victor recognized him instantly from the Elevate Fitness website photo.
Adrian Vega, Personaltrainer.
The man glanced around before entering, then headed straight for the elevators. In that moment, numbers, patterns, and discrepancies aligned into devastating clarity. Victor gripped the steering wheel so hard his knuckles turned white, a strange calmness settling over him as the final puzzle piece locked into place. 7:15 p.m. Victor Calloway checked into the Grand Horizon Hotel, requesting room 314, directly across from room 312. The desk clerk noted nothing unusual about the quiet man with the overnight bag. His wedding ring clearly visible as he signed the register. Inside 314, Victor placed his bag on the bed, removed a kitchen knife from between folded clothes, and set it on the nightstand. He'd taken it from home that morning, sliding it into his briefcase with mechanical precision. Now he sat on the edge of the bed, watching the digital clock tick forward minute by minute, his breathing shallow, his mind oddly empty. 8:32 p.m. Martha texted their daughter about homework. She stood before the bathroom mirror in room 312, applying fresh lipstick, anticipation fluttering in her stomach. Adrian would arrive by 9 o'clock. They'd ordered champagne for tonight, a small celebration of his promotion at the gym. 8:57 p.m. Adrian parked his Jeep, humming as he grabbed his gym bag. Inside, wine, strawberries, massage oil. He'd been planning this evening for days, crafting small surprises for Martha. Victor watched through the peephole as Adrian knocked on room 312. Heard Martha's laugh as she opened the door. Caught a glimpse of her, hair down, wearing a black dress he'd never seen, before the door closed. Inside his room, Victor's composed facade cracked. His hand shook as he poured hotel whiskey into a plastic cup, gulping it down, heat spreading through his chest. The clock read 9:12 p.m. Music played faintly from across the hall. Laughter, murmured voices. 11:45 p.m. Victor stood before the mirror, studying his reflection. His face looked unfamiliar, flushed, eyes bloodshot. He'd rehearsed confronting them, demanding explanations, asserting his dignity. But with each passing hour, coherent thought dissolved into primal rage. The knife felt heavier now as he slipped it into his pocket. His breathing came in short bursts as he stepped into the hallway, the overhead lights humming, ice machines churning down the corridor. 11:58 p.m. Victor knocked on room 312. Nothing. He knocked harder. The door opened to Adrian's confused face. "Can I help?" Victor pushed past him into the room. The smell hit him first. Unfamiliar cologne, champagne, scented candles. Martha stood by the bed in a hotel robe, her expression transforming from confusion to horror. Victor? What are you? How long? His voice sounded strange to his own ears. How long? Martha stepped forward, hands raised. Victor, please. Let's talk about this at home. Like we talk about anything? The knife was in his hand now, though he couldn't remember reaching for it. 15 years, Martha. Adrian moved slowly toward Victor. Sir, put that down. This doesn't need to. Don't tell me what this needs. Victor lunged forward. Adrian stepped between them, pushing Martha back. Run. Get help. The knife caught Adrian's forearm as he blocked Victor's advance. Blood sprayed across white bedsheets. Martha screamed, grabbing the hotel phone as Adrian grappled with Victor. They crashed into the dresser, sending champagne glasses shattering across tile. Victor's rage translated into unexpected strength as he swung again, the knife finding Adrian's chest with a sickening resistance. Adrian's eyes widened. He looked down at the blade, then at Victor, surprise rather than anger in his expression. He stumbled backward, collapsing against the foot of the bed, blood pumping between his fingers as he clutched his chest. Martha's screams seemed to come from another world. Victor stood frozen, the knife hanging from his limp hand, watching red bloom across Adrian's gray t-shirt. The room smelled of copper and sweat. The ceiling fan ticked rhythmically overhead. 12:04 a.m. Hotel security pounded on the door. In the distance, sirens wailed. Martha knelt beside Adrian, pressing a towel to his chest, begging him to hold on. Victor sat on the edge of the bathtub, staring at blood-streaked hands, his rage replaced by hollow disbelief. He didn't resist when police officers entered with weapons drawn, didn't flinch at the cold handcuffs, didn't speak as they recited his rights. In the hallway, guests peered from doorways. Camera phones recorded his expressionless face as officers led him away from the scene of his transformation from husband to killer. Night manager Carlos Jimenez would later testify that guest complaints about shouting and a loud crash brought him to room 312. His master key revealed a scene no hospitality training could prepare him for. Blood-streaked walls, shattered glass, and 3 lives forever altered. "I've worked here 7 years," he told reporters. "Never anything worse than drunk businessmen until that night." Police response took 4 minutes. 4 minutes during which Adrian Vega's life drained onto commercial-grade carpet. Paramedics worked frantically, but pronounced him dead at 12:23 a.m. The official cause: a single stab wound that severed his aorta. Victor sat in the hallway, monitored by officers, his expression vacant. Detective Lisa Mercer noted in her report. Suspect appeared catatonic, non-responsive to questions, exhibiting classic shock symptoms. His blood-stained hands rested palm up on his knees, as if offering evidence of his actions. Martha suffered minor physical injuries, bruised ribs from falling against furniture during the struggle, cuts on her feet from broken glass. Her psychological wounds proved far more severe. Body camera footage showed her repeatedly attempting to reach Adrian's body, her anguished cries echoing through 3 floors of the hotel. "You killed him," she screamed at Victor. "He was young. He had his whole life. You destroyed everything." By dawn, local news vans lined the hotel driveway. The morning broadcast led with suburban love triangle ends in bloodshed, displaying Victor's booking photo alongside Martha's real estate headshot and Adrian's gym profile picture. Social media erupted with judgment. Team Victor: what man wouldn't snap? Team Martha: no one deserves to die for an affair. Team Adrian: wrong place, wrong person, wrong time. Neighbors expressed obligatory shock. "They seemed so normal," said one. Their Christmas decorations won neighborhood awards, offered another, as if festive lights might prevent murder. The Callaway children awoke to find police officers and their grandmother in their living room. Their innocence ended with a carefully worded explanation that permanently altered their understanding of both parents. If this story is affecting you deeply, please share it with someone who needs this warning. The quiet desperation of failing marriages rarely makes headlines until tragedy strikes. Perhaps by spreading this cautionary tale, You might help someone recognize dangerous patterns before they lead to irreversible consequences. One conversation could save lives like Adrian's and futures like the Callaway children's. The Callaway murder trial transformed the county courthouse into a media circus. News outlets set up dedicated crews for daily coverage. True crime podcasters crafted real-time narratives. The public lined up at 5 a.m. for limited seating, many clutching notebooks to document every detail firsthand. District Attorney Eleanor Patel built her case methodically. This was not a crime of sudden passion, she told jurors in her opening statement. Mr. Callaway brought a weapon to that hotel. He made a choice with every step he took. The prosecution presented hotel security footage showing Victor checking in hours before the confrontation. They displayed the kitchen knife, highlighting its presence in his overnight bag as evidence of premeditation. Blood spatter experts testified about the angle and force of the fatal blow, suggesting controlled rage rather than chaotic struggle. He didn't just want to confront them, Patel argued. He wanted to punish them. Defense attorney James Whitaker countered with a temporary insanity strategy. Mr. Callaway experienced a profound psychological break triggered by extreme emotional trauma, he explained, introducing expert testimony about acute stress reactions and dissociative states. Psychiatric evaluations became central to the proceedings. Defense psychiatrists described Victor as experiencing reality through a distorted lens during the attack. Prosecution experts countered that his actions showed clear intent and awareness. Martha's testimony stretched across 2 grueling days. Her affair became public record, intimate details dissected by attorneys and commented on by strangers online. She described Victor's expression that night as completely empty, like looking at a stranger wearing my husband's face. Under cross-examination, Martha faced brutal questioning about the timeline of her infidelity, her deceptions, even her parenting. Court observers noted how she aged visibly during her testimony, shoulders curved inward against public scrutiny. Forensic evidence proved damning. Victor's fingerprints exclusively on the knife handle. Hotel room evidence showing calculated entry rather than heated confrontation. Cell phone records revealing his awareness of the affair weeks before the murder. After 7 days of testimony, the jury received their instructions. They deliberated for 11 hours across 2 days. The verdict arrived on a Tuesday afternoon, guilty of second-degree murder. The judge cited the cold calculation evident in Victor's actions when sentencing him to 25 years to life. As officers led Victor away, Martha sat alone on the courtroom bench, both victim and catalyst, her face a mask of complex emotions no legal verdict could resolve. Victor Callaway entered Westridge Correctional Facility as inmate number 247891. His accounting expertise quickly made him valuable in the prison library, helping other inmates with financial literacy. Guards described him as a model prisoner who spoke rarely about his former life. The photos of Emma and James remained on his cell wall, though their letters grew increasingly infrequent with passing years. "I destroyed 4 lives that night," he wrote in a mandatory reflection journal. "Adrian's, Martha's, my children's, and my own." Martha sold their house within months, unable to sleep in rooms haunted by memories. Therapy became her lifeline. 3 sessions weekly with Dr. Helen Chun, specialist in trauma and guilt. The sessions uncovered layers of accountability she struggled to accept. "I'm not responsible for Victor's actions," she repeated like a mantra, "but I contributed to conditions that led to tragedy." Her real estate license lapsed as clients disappeared, her name forever associated with scandal. She found work eventually at a property management firm 2 counties away, where her past wasn't common knowledge. Emma and James moved in with Martha's parents, their lives restructured around the absence of both parents. One imprisoned, one present but fundamentally altered. School counselors noted their withdrawal from social activities. Emma channeled her pain into competitive swimming, breaking regional records while maintaining emotional distance from teammates. James developed anxiety that manifested in meticulous organizational habits, creating systems to control his environment when everything else felt chaotic. The community's reaction evolved from initial shock to uncomfortable introspection. Local marriage counselors reported increased appointments in the months following the trial. The PDA organized workshops on healthy relationships. Churches added support groups addressing marital dissatisfaction. The Calloway case forced people to examine their own marriages, explained Pastor Michael Freeman. Everyone recognized pieces of themselves in that story. The unmet needs, the silent resentments, the failure to communicate honestly. The Grand Horizon Hotel underwent renovation and rebranding, changing its name to Lakeside Suites after occupancy rates plummeted. Room 312 was reconfigured during construction, its dimensions altered to discourage macabre curiosity. Still, online reviews occasionally mentioned its history, perpetuating its reputation. Most profound was the invisible impact. Conversations between couples driving home from dinner parties, quiet reconsiderations of priorities, small decisions to address problems before they festered beyond repair. The tragedy created ripples of preventive action that would never make headlines but might have prevented similar outcomes elsewhere. The Calloway tragedy reveals warning signs visible only in hindsight. Their parallel lives, sharing space but not emotional intimacy, created dangerous isolation. Victor's retreat into work rather than confronting marital problems. Martha seeking validation outside her marriage instead of addressing its fundamental flaws. Both choosing avoidance over the difficult conversations that might have redirected their path. Relationship experts point to communication breakdown as the foundation of most catastrophic marriages. Dr. Rebecca Lawrence, family therapist, explains, when couples stop expressing needs directly, they begin fulfilling them indirectly, often destructively. The Calloways exemplify how silence becomes a weapon that eventually wounds everyone. The case illustrates how seemingly minor betrayals accumulate into life-altering consequences. Each deception Martha crafted, each warning sign Victor ignored, each opportunity for honesty bypassed. These small decisions compounded into irreversible tragedy. People rarely leap directly into major betrayals, notes criminal psychologist Dr. James Thornton. They take incremental steps away from integrity, each one making the next easier to justify. The devastation extended far beyond the principal figures. 2 children lost their foundation and innocence. Extended family members became unexpected guardians. Friends questioned their own perception. Colleagues reconsidered workplace relationships. An entire community confronted uncomfortable truths about the facades they maintained. Perhaps most significant is recognizing how the Calloway story could belong to any neighborhood. Any marriage where convenience replaces connection, where problems remain unaddressed until resolution becomes impossible. Their circumstances weren't exceptional, their responses were. The lesson isn't merely, don't have affairs, or control your anger. It's about recognizing relationship deterioration before crisis points arrive. It's understanding that emotional neglect causes real damage. It's acknowledging that healing broken connections requires courage to speak difficult truths before they transform into dangerous secrets. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe and hit the notification bell for more true crime analysis that might prevent similar tragedies. Comment below sharing what warning sign from the Calloway case you've encountered in relationships around you. Your insight might help someone else recognize dangerous patterns before they lead to irreversible consequences. Remember, what we learn from others' mistakes might save us from making our own.